Hi, my loves. It's Jeray, my lady girl from around the way, where we have culture, conversation, and community. And in today's video, I'm coming to you all with some commentary about some comments that were made from creator Deante Kyle of the Grits and Eggs podcast. Now, before I hop into this commentary, guys, I want you to go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you are into cultural conversations and pop culture moments, discussing them in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm so that way we can live the life that we deserve. This is what we do over here. Now, Deante Kyle, I will say, admittedly, he is, in my opinion, one of the voices of our generation. I love that he has been gaining momentum and traction with his pod and just his overall online presence. Like not even online, but in real life too, right? I think he is one of those rare ones who actually deserve an actual podcast microphone and an audience because he's doing the knowledge, okay? So he's currently under fire because he has been tap dancing on the last nerve of these Black Christians. And I'm just here to finish the Lord's work. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it because I want to discuss how Black Christianity has really impacted our way and our ability to do critical thinking. So we're going to get into the clip and then I'm going to come in and out to kind of discuss and break down. It's kind of like a live review because I didn't watch it in full. So yeah, let's get into it.
This is standing in the way of the power of your gratitude really being fulfilled, right? You are misplacing your gratitude. You give all of the gratitude to the blood of Jesus and his sacrifice, but our ancestors spilled their blood, sacrificed their life, sacrificed their pride, sacrificed their dignity, and endured not only for our sake, but for the sake of your children. They had us in mind, right? And they don't get any acknowledgement. You don't acknowledge your own blood.
Now, I want to jump in here and say he is absolutely correct. People don't even want to say anything about their loved ones, their ancestors, and this, that, and the third. And I think it's because it's the connotation of ancestor, and it's so linked to African traditional religions. That's what it is. But again, he said this on a podcast too. If they were like, "Oh, my forefathers," we don't have any issues with talking about our forefathers and honoring and venerating Columbus Day, because let's just be clear, right? When the whole country, the whole world stops and understands that, oh, we have a holiday, it's Columbus Day and this and the third and this President's Day, what do you think that is? That's also veneration and acknowledgement, right? And so many of us, even when you say something like, oh yeah, my ancestors, so he's, whatever, I'm honoring them or whatever, you ain't supposed to be honoring them and this, that, and the third. Well, why not? Why not? What is so wrong about that? If you had a grandmother who passed on and she used to cook collard greens, or she was, a gardener, and you go ahead and decide, I'm going to go ahead and start me a garden because that's what Big Mama used to do, and this, that, and the third. That is honoring your ancestor because you know that she will want you to know how to grow your own food. Why do Black Christians try to demonize that? It's no different than when people are like, oh yeah, you like crystals, you're worshiping crystals, like we outside worshiping some rocks. No, we just understand and know that these are elements, and elements have effects, and this, that, and the third. And people will try to demonize anything that's related to and associated to Blackness. Let's get on and continue on to what he had to say.
That was sacrifice. You acknowledge the sacrifice of this man. They called on him. He didn't show up. He gets all the glory. You should be glorifying your ancestors. It's literally your blood. It's in your genetic code. You might wake something up because you'll not only be glorifying yourself, you'll be glorifying the people who are the reason you're here in the first place.
This is a very, very important topic because I know if you've been around my channel long enough, you know that I've spoken on epigenetics, right? And waking, things that are inherently embedded into who you are and to your DNA and into your code. When you are tapped into your higher self, you are also tapping into energy that is before you, right? Because we're all interconnected. Grandmama and them was a good dancer. You got a good little piece of rhythm. uncle and them was a singer, you got a little piece of throat, a little piece of voice on you. These things all play in with each other. And the same things are true for traits like perseverance, resourcefulness, creativity. You understand what I'm saying? And they want you to be further removed from being able to tap into your DNA to be able, I don't want to say biohack, but essentially it's akin to that. They want to keep us as separated as possible, as Christianified as possible. And when I say Christian, I'm talking about white Christian narratives, right? And quiet as is kept while they're trying to keep you separated from your ancestors and everything like this. You think they ain't honoring theirs and doing a whole bunch of humdrum and blood and all types of stuff, but they will try to make you feel like, oh, I'm wrong for this. This is not right. This isn't godly. But in the Bible, it always talks about like God is within you. So why are people so afraid to be like, I'm glorifying myself, or I'm honoring my ancestors, or I'm honoring, because they are a part of you. They are a part of you. I'm honoring myself. And that's because, this Christianity has turned into fire and brimstone. You're so disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from the source when you have all of the power to be connected. I'm not a Bible literature, buff, but I remember there was like a phrase or a verse about like, the mountains, you'll be like the mountains, no one can move you kind of thing. You have that power within you. And when you go to churches that, kind of talk about and condemn those type of ways of thinking, and I'm not worthy, Lord, I'm not worthy, I'm just a terrible, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. What do you think you wailing and you crying and you feeling that? What are you attracting? You're feeling unworthy. You feeling unworthy. You think because you go and you scream you unworthy in front of the congregation, you're gonna walk out of there feeling like, oh, I'm so worthy, Lord. No. And this is why he talked about gratitude as well. You understand? Gratitude is a powerful state of being. Gratitude is a powerful frequency that so many times people are overlooking. Being grateful and having gratitude will change your life, sister. Okay? Let's get back into it.
And I think that's one of the issues that we don't talk about as it pertains to Christianity. We get into a lot of the bag of whether he exists or not. He exists, he doesn't. Yeshua, whatever. He's acknowledged as a prophet. I respect that, right? He's in Islam, he's acknowledged as a prophet. But the overarching image of Jesus in the Christian religion is of him on the cross, the sacrifice he made, the blood he shed. Huh? But what about the blood that our ancestors shed here on this land for us? For this country? Inventing in spite of, building cities, operating in the free market. Huh? The free market was good until it was a thriving black community. Then they interrupted it. That was all about the free market until that happened. Shout out to Deja Sade for that. The blood you should be praising is literally coursing through your veins. It was the blood. Huh? You taking a shot of it every month, once a month. When the last time you venerated your ancestors? When the last time you acknowledged their presence or the sacrifice that they made just to have you here? You might wake something up. That's real DNA. It's blood spilled out here right now that got your DNA in it. And we don't acknowledge it.
And the reason people don't acknowledge it is because people have weaponized it. People have weaponized any sort of honor, veneration, or anything like this, especially when we're talking about the blood of Jesus. We're not saying like, go try to get some blood of your ancestors or doing everything like this. But we all agree that blood is seen as a sacred link, right? It's a physical bridge to your lineage. When you feel a deep connection to your ancestors, it's not just emotional or symbolic, it's energetic and spiritually and at a cellular level, right? Your DNA holds the blueprint of everyone who came before you. Everyone. So reconnecting with your ancestors is in essence activating what already lives within you. You understand what I'm saying? So when I'm talking about practicing meditation, having ancestral prayers, having ancestor veneration or journaling about your lineage so you can feel powerful, they awaken those dormant memories, right? That's already written in your DNA into your genetic code. Do you understand what I'm saying and how important and powerful that is? And people, when we talk about epigenetics, they always talk about, just the trauma response, everything like, the stress responses. But, resilience can be passed down genetically. The ability to know how to navigate certain things. You don't think that we all out here, as Black people knowing how to survive. When everything went down with this administration, collectively we were like, oh, Black people, we know how to do it. Why you think that is? I can't go outside and go do half the shit people was doing in the 1920s as a woman and washing hands by, washing clothes by hands and dealing with it. Most of us couldn't do that shit today, right? But somehow, some way, we still have and still possess a certain level of resourcefulness, right? The natural, stick-wittedness and knowing how to do those things. That was connected to us. This is why it is important for you to understand, not to get caught up in, oh, I can't, and this and third, because this is not religion. Listen, and not just Christianity, because, we can talk about the Christian Crusades. We can also talk about how many people are, have died, or been unalive, child, at the hands of, Islamic radicalism. Okay. But this is for a personal connection. You're supposed to have a personal connection with God, with yourself, with your higher self, and your ancestors, y'all. Come on now. And I really feel like it has a lot to do with people's inability to be able to critical think. But honestly, you can't critical think if you don't really even know how to read. If you don't even know how to read, y'all will be surprised at how many adults are navigating life with low to no literacy. Honestly. And they have found ways to kind of work through life in this and third. If they can't even they don't even have literacy, you think they sitting up reading the Bible and then being able to read the Bible and think about it and process it in a way that is applicable to the life that they live and theories in the second and third. If you ever read a book, it's hard as shit. You can't even focus on what the content is. You trying to just get through sounding out the words. Half of the adults don't know how to read. I hate to say it. I hate to be the one to bring it up, but literacy is a major issue. Don't sleep on that.
We allowed, so niggas call him a middleman to God. So I got to get Jesus out the way to get to God, right? That's what they say, right? They call him a middleman, right? That's some of the issue that people have. They feel like Jesus stands in the way of God. Why I got to talk to you? I could just go straight to the source. You could go straight to the source. The source is in you already. It's been in you your whole life. So if we want to get into a middleman conversation, you just go inward. Jesus is standing in the way of the power of your gratitude really being fulfilled, right? You are misplacing your gratitude.
And I think here is the crux of the conversation, because what he is trying to say is stop misplacing the power, the greatness, the everything, whatever outside of yourself. Okay? If anything, this is what more Christians need to lead into, is that, yes, I am powerful and I am worthy and I have the ability to change my circumstances. I can be grateful. I can be all of these things. I can do these things, and it can happen for me because it's me. I think that so many times, like, Christianity has, like, psychologically stripped people down of their power, and now the only way that I know that I can get my help comes from Jesus Christ, which I'm not here to judge anybody in how they worship. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not even sitting up here saying that I don't identify as Christian or I don't believe in Jesus or whatever the case. I don't want y'all to think that either. My spiritual practice and belief are for me, and I don't really share that because I don't want to feel like, oh, this is what it is. Everything is different. Everybody is different. Okay. Everybody's so creative. But the whole idea is to not take the God out of yourself. Don't separate God that's within you. When you do that, you are allowing for people to just treat you anyway, for the churches to tell you any old kind of thing or whatever. But when you stand up in that power and you have an understanding of greatness, you have an understanding of lineage, and you connect to your higher self, your highest power for your greatest good. Okay? Even if you feel like you got to, use that energy of Yeshua or Krishna or whatever the case. We could talk about that, with separate in a separate community. Y'all, I finally created a separate community. I really did. I stayed up last night. It's like 4:00 in the morning. I did it. We'll talk about that later, so we can get into those deeper conversations. If you're ready for the deeper conversations. Okay, put a white heart in the chat so I can know you one of the ones. Okay, period, point blank. Let me know what you think. Everybody is trying to, dogpile him right now. I'm not standing for it. I think Deante Kyle is a brilliant person. He's lived enough. He's had enough experience to relate to the average nigga, the intellectuals, the anti-intellectuals. And I think that there's space and room and conversation for how we can grow as our self-esteem as a people, how we show up in religion and the stronghold that religion has placed on so many of us. And I want to get into that. I want to further this conversation. Drop that in the comments and let me know what you think, girl. I want to hear from some of the Christians too. Like, if you actively in church, how do you feel about this? And I think that he has a rough delivery because he a nigga at the end of the day. He can come off a little arrogant, but if you listen to what he's saying and be able to critically think and not think with your emotions, I think you can understand and hear what exactly is going on. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. As always, I'm sending you much love, much light, much Sunday, y'all. Peace.